Sorry, you guys. That's why I'm like kind of like tired. I'm still like moving in. So
We are live.
yeah,
Live.
and I have to like the real. I don't even know how to deal with that. Uh,
So,
I'll figure it out.
welcome back. You know, we've been out for a long time, so now we are back. In effect, has some things to move around, some places, new places. So we back at it. Sorry for the wait, but let's
Oh
get to
no, okay. I was like, am I just not being invited into conversations or something?
nah.
I
That was
got my voicemail. I was a little inebriated, so I apologize for that. But that was just how I'm feeling. I'm one of those people. I'm straight up. Like I don't care how I'm feeling. I'm gonna say what I feel.
we got to switch locations. Everything looking back and back. So let's go ahead and go with the topic of discussion
I
today.
don't topic. What is the topic?
DACA. Should black people stay out of it? Should we not give our energy and our support to DACA because it really doesn't have anything to do with us? The only concern is for
Okay.
immigrants who are undocumented to be in this country. So I want to ask you guys, keep it brief, no long-winded, keep it brief, and tell me, should black people stay out of this?
Here's my thing with DACA. We should. It's kind of a tricky question, but for the most part, I think we should stay out of it. Reason being, I mean, first of all, it's the first time it really don't have nothing to do with us because we aren't immigrants, quote unquote. So for the immigrants, it's on them. But here's the thing with America, right? If you have a or any country, if you have a country based on laws, you have to uphold those laws. If you don't uphold those laws, well, then you don't have a country. So, for instance, if I commit a crime and I'm supposed to go to jail and nobody upholds that law, well, everybody be committing crimes. You see what I'm saying? So if you have one illegal immigrant come over and he's an illegal immigrant, in you know what I'm saying, it's self-explanatory. You're coming over here illegally, and you have a law that
So
says
it's kind of like when in Rome, do as the Romans.
it's not even that. But if you have a system of law for your citizens, and you expect if those laws aren't upheld, then you're not a country. What laws are you really upholding then? It's like you pick and choose your laws, or is some kind of special privilege or something? So if you have an illegal immigrant coming over to America to quote unquote have a better life, which is fine. I'm not saying you don't, but then you have people in other countries that's trying to do it the legal way, the right way, to come over here, and then you just cross over border and just come over and say I'm here. It's a slap in the face to everybody else. And if for America to say, all right, well, we're not going to uphold the law, then if you come over here illegally, we're going to grant you kind of amnesty or whatever. I mean, that's not fair. I mean, if you have a law, uphold the fucking law.
Can I make a statement on that? And I'm not trying to be like real rude, and I'm not going to suck up time, but
Mhm.
I think it's kind of like an odd feeling that where everybody feels like they're invited to somebody else's land, and we're not doing that to other people. We're not going and stapling ourselves and saying we are now attached to your land and we can now call ourselves a citizen or a real person of your land, except for like certain places. And even if you do have a visa to be able to enter a certain country, they're not making you a citizen. Why does everyone feel citizenship and everyone knows this is not their land? That's a weird aspect to have. Saying that there are ways we try to survive and struggle ourselves. It's kind of bizarre though that our land is automatically shared and no one else's is. China's still China.
All right, you don't think about illegally coming into China without them knowing.
I'm just,
You know,
but it's not that big a discussion. I said, why do people feel like they have the right to be a North American when they're not indigenous here? How could you do that? No, I don't. I would never touch my foot on Nigerian soil and say I'm selling Nigerian because I married a Nigerian man or something. That would be absurd. Absurd, wouldn't it?
To your
That's
point.
correct.
But I mean, all I can say is as far as America goes, if you're illegal,
Everyone feels very entitled to here, and I think that's very bizarre. It's not an immigration thing, but there is a sense of I don't know why white people are complaining because they already know that they're worse than everybody else was. At least these people are just scratching and surviving and trying to make a better life. They just came to try to conquer. So and that's absurd too.
I mean,
I,
Dynamic.
I think some
There's a
black
different
people.
dynamic between how I feel about immigrants and how I feel about people
I
that
mean,
just tried to conquer and decided everybody's welcome.
but as far as DACA, like all
Everybody
these
isn't welcome.
dreamer people, that's for DACA. I mean, if you're an illegal, you're an illegal. I mean, it's fine.
They weren't
Granted,
illegal when they decided to want to use and abuse them.
no, but I'm saying if you're an illegal, you're an illegal. It doesn't matter if you're a dreamer or Jesus himself. If you're an illegal,
Do this?
we have laws for illegal immigrants. You get shipped back to.
Correct. I'm saying they do this.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sorry your dreams got crushed.
Contradictory. Correct.
But look at this aspect. Those illegal immigrants that quote unquote are here and they go back to their country. These jobs, there'll be a lot of more job opens for quote unquote citizens of the country. If you think about it, because these low paying jobs, these cannot be redistributed for the citizens who quote unquote don't have jobs. I'm pretty sure, and during this day and time, where there's no jobs around, whatever job you can get, people get. So I'm assuming these.
By the immigration they became so important because the workflow of how they were getting immigrants to work underneath the table and do everything that they wanted to function for the system that they set up was okay. When the job structure and everybody's looking towards the president or whoever Congress members are to find a structural position for everybody to be able to have jobs, real Americans, that's when it started to become a problem. That's when the immigration thing was like, oh, we have to get rid of these illegals. But illegals who are doctors who work as cab drivers wasn't that imperative because they function as a function that they want them to provide in society. Now suddenly they're an irritation because they're taking jobs out of American hands.
Well, the thing is, they're
Whatever
not paying
that means.
taxes. If you think about it, you can't put an illegal immigrant on paper. You got to pay them under the table. So those illegal immigrants aren't paying taxes. So if
No,
you're not paying
no,
taxes,
no, that's not true. Some of them have legal jobs and they have a hustle, just like we do,
no. What I'm
Negro.
saying is, no. What I'm saying is, there are legal immigrants that you can't put them on paper because they're not a citizen, they're not a legal resident, or they don't have a work visa here for 6 months or so, stuff like that.
But that's not the only problem they have. They're talking about anyone. Like people who even on student visas. If you even get like a traffic ticket, it's that absurd.
But the thing is, you're not a citizen. It's not really absurd if you think about it. You're not a citizen. You're
Well,
here.
I mean, but the question is, how if you start to do the rubber band stretch,
Mm.
when do they start? If they start calling us African Americans, and this is our shit, then they could start applying those laws to us. Then
Well,
we're not citizens.
but the thing
I'm
is,
saying you have to understand where this rubber band is going. This is the beginning. Period. And it's called fascism. That's how every fascist concept comes along. They start with this kind of shit.
but at the same
With
time,
the ideal.
but at the same time, like I said, if somebody committed a murder, right? Somebody committed a murder, right? You would want that person to go to jail or be executed, right? That would be what you want if so goes the law.
I'm not an eye and eye or tooth for a tooth kind of person. I believe in
But
universal order, so that will
but you
take care of itself.
but you would want that person to go to jail at least, the very bare minimum,
Of course.
right? So that's the
Yeah,
law, right? You
punishment.
don't,
Yeah, some kind of form, shape of punishment. I got
right?
my
So
ass beat when I was a kid when I did something wrong.
Right. So you want the law basically upheld. So it's the same thing for an illegal immigrant. After your visa runs out, after whatever runs out, you become an illegal immigrant. So
Mm-hmm.
as the law goes, we have laws for illegal immigrants.
But that's not true. If you provide, that's not true. If you provide a certain, that's why certain immigrants do
Uh,
certain things in school, because as long as you provide what they're looking for and with according to the system, you're okay.
you're
Let's not
right.
make it seem like illegal immigrants don't become citizens.
I'm not saying that, but once those, if those, if
As
those,
long as they provide a certain function that they're looking for in the system, they're okay. For those that aren't functioning within the system, as far as they're concerned, that's when it's a problem.
but see, that's my point though. So when your visa runs out, is what I'm saying. So you don't provide a function after your visa runs out. That means you're an illegal immigrant after that. You're not
No,
going to
I'm
school.
saying if you're
You're not
continuing
working.
to go to school and
But hold on.
you're doing an internship, you can have your visa extended. Listen,
But
yes, you can. I've done it for people.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you on that. But what I'm saying is, for those whose visas end and they don't renew that visa, you become an illegal immigrant. Then you have to leave because then you're taxing the citizens of the country. You see what I'm saying? So if you're not paying taxes, then you become a burden. If you become a burden, well, then you have to leave. But as long as you're going to school, getting your stuff extended and all that stuff, going to work, getting your work visa extended, you're providing, you're a part of the economy. You're paying taxes one way or another. Because
True.
once you stop, you become your usefulness becomes null and void. You know what I'm saying? You got to go.
Part of the
That's what I'm
system.
saying. For those dreamers, what I'm saying, for those dreamers who are in school and all that stuff, if you're on a work or a school visa, that's fine. You can still have your dream. For those who aren't, who don't got that, who aren't afforded those avenues, you got to go because that's my child's seat in school that you're taking. You understand? That's where I'm looking at it as a citizen of the country, quote unquote. That's where I'll be looking at it because that job that you're holding that you don't work for, my kid could be having that job. I'm
Right.
sorry, but that's just the economy, the way capitalism works.
Jason, what are your? We never got to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I'm supplying the questions today. I just want to get to how does Black people feel about not taking this time out to unite with the brown community.
I think that there's a pitted competition, and I don't know where that installation of thought came from, but we're pitted to be in competition with each other, and it's. I mean, I just literally dealt with that today.
Yeah,
My thing is,
because
And,
um,
I mean, it's just bizarre though, where you have black people who are in a position to be able to make something work for you, and they decide. And I think honestly, it makes me feel like there really is a "I got mine, go get yours" mentality. Now I don't know where that mentality comes from, so I don't really have an answer to that
well,
for you.
it's
I mean, we all know where it came from.
right.
It's how they've been exposed to. It's how they've been explained to them about us from certain well, the certain group of people who control media or whatever images. So they already know that they should stay away from the black people and become more like the white man. So they have to
No, they
follow.
want to suck us dry and mix with us as much as they possibly can. That makes them
Uh,
feel blacker.
in certain areas, but it is a stigma between the two because I get it too. Like when I walk down the street and I see a Hispanic person and I say hola, and a motherfucker gonna tell me hello. Motherfucker, I know you.
I get that a lot.
You
I
gonna tell
get
me
that a lot.
I'm trying to work on my Spanish.
But see, that's the thing I've been trying to tell everybody though. It's the culture thing that we don't have. Like for instance, like a Dominican, a Haitian, and an American, all black people, right?
Right.
All have a
Mm.
common history. They all come from one continent, obviously, right? But they don't see each other as brothers or the same people because they all got different ideas of whatever culture they have right now, wherever they have. Like
I don't
we have,
know. I mean, I'm pretty much in New York a lot, and the Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, they don't very much feel that different than us, except that there's a language that we don't speak the same language and we don't eat the same food. That's the only difference.
but go on a crowd of Dominicans and you're the only American. You think they're gonna speak all English? Exactly. So what I'm saying is it's the culture thing that we don't have, that we all separated from. We don't have a common culture because we're all through slavery all been chopped up.
Yeah, I mean, even with Native American in my family, I don't I remember hearing certain words, but they never. And I think that's something that happens even with people who are Chinese, Asian, Mexican, that they want to be so Americanized that they forget to teach. The language is sometimes the culture. The food is the
It is.
culture, and people forget to do that because they want to. Because America is one of those places where people name their daughters Jane or Sam, even though their fucking name should be Zing Zang Ya or something, something like that. So, and it's just a way of them. I've known people to do this where they teach their kids English first and teach them their natural language second.
But yeah, that's right. And because that goes back to slavery, because one of the first things they took from the slave was their language, and that's the first tie to their culture is their language. So if you
That's
can't
one of the
speak
first things
the
God
language,
took to separate the people was the language.
it was the language. That's what kept the people together is their language. So if they can't speak a different language, like the slave master can hear English, right? But he can't understand Angolan. He can't understand people from Sierra Leone. So he make them speak one language he can understand. That's separated from their culture. So now you're under a different culture, speaking a different language, doing what they're doing, basically.
Yes, we all kind of agree that it's just the first thing. I mean, but that's called separation and divide. The first part of it is I guess decultivate land, spirit, names, language.
Know your history. It's your culture that keeps you together. If you don't know that, what the fuck I mean, what's the point? Everybody's a Hebrew, everybody's a Christian, blah this, blah blah blah. But nobody wants to be African. No one can say, "Oh, I'm African."
I wouldn't have to think about African. That's what I don't like because everybody wants to feel like important and attach themselves. It's called supersessionism. And that's what I don't like because it comes along with that kind of idea. If you feel connected to everything, then you don't have to feel separate or even label it. Like I am not Tommy Hilfiger just because I wore his fucking jeans. Just because there's a certain genetic makeup or something like that, that doesn't mean that all of us are necessarily disconnected or that you have to establish yourself in a hierarchy. And it's like, and I had this problem with my siblings where everybody always wanted to be new school. And that's not what love and being a human being, as far as I'm concerned, is about. It's the connectedness and understanding the connectedness. Even if you feel like but you should already understand under God that that's always where you're going to belong. The color of your skin and everything like that, God has that figured out, so you don't have to prove it to anybody.
Well, yeah. You figured it
If
out,
you
right?
want to, you go
You
ahead.
figured it out the
That's not
first
something
time.
I care to do. I don't care about whether we all come from Africa or anything like that. I'm trying to figure out who am I as a child of God, and how do I connect to everything that's going on because it's about to fail very quickly. Thinking
Well,
that whether I'm African or not, because the last time I checked, Egypt exists in Africa,
mhm.
and God didn't give a flying fuck about them at the end of the story.
Well, that's not a real story, but it just didn't happen. I'm sorry, it just did not happen.
I
No, we
live my
don't,
life
we
according
don't
to the
want to
Ten
start.
Commandments, and that helps me be a safe human being. If you don't believe in the Ten Commandments, my brother, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean,
I don't need your help.
I mean, I mean, first of all, the Ten Commandments were stolen.
Obviously, I have company in the business here in this conversation. You like
stolen to begin with. That's number one. The second part is
I don't need your help.
the story wasn't true. The whole Ten Commandments stuff wasn't true. It never happened.
Okay.
You think
I like that moral aspect. If it's not true,
down a stone mountain with two big cameras.
Tell me why it's not.
There's no such thing
Tell you why it's not? Because number one, there was no such thing as Hebrews in Egypt. Never. There's no way you can prove that. I can disprove it easily, but there's no way you can prove that they existed.
Well, please disprove it easily. Send it to me. Send it on the site so I can disprove it to me. I need that.
I'll just point to the pyramids, which are still there, and that'll prove to you that they never existed. That'll prove to you they never existed. The pyramids are still there.
Never existed.
No, the pyramids were never built by any Hebrews. Ancient Egypt never had slaves. That's number one.
You're saying you can easily prove that, so I'm saying prove that.
Okay, so as the story goes,
I'm not saying right this minute. I'm saying shoot out something. So because I need to read that.
I'm gonna prove it to you right now. So as the story goes, the Hebrews built the pyramids out of brick, mud, and straw, right? As the story goes.
I mean, I'm not sure, but okay.
Oh, I mean, hold
on. You're dealing with petty things. I'm talking about proving that the Hebrews never existed. You're talking about brick and I don't need that.
But see, that's my proof. But
so tell me how Hebrews didn't exist.
Follow my story, and I'll prove to you that they didn't exist. If the brick, you may seem very minute right now, but when I finish what I'm saying, you'll understand how they could never existed. So
I hope so. I mean, okay. I'll let you attempt because that's a very, very thin line of something that I'm not particularly concerned about. That's not. I doubt that's going to be proof to me. But if you could do it,
okay. So, as the story goes, they built the pyramids out of brick, mud, and straw. Right? As we all know, the pyramids were not built out of anything called brick, mud, or straw. They were all built out of limestone, granite, or granodiorite, right? That's number one.
That sounds like the argument has to be a little stronger than that.
Well, hold on, but that's number one. So that proves that they did not build the pyramid. That's number one. Number two is the time period of the quote unquote. They said that the time they were quote unquote enslaved in Egypt, and the time the last pyramid in Egypt was built.
Chronologically,
that's number two. Number three is you have other pyramids all across the Nile Valley that were built. So to say that Hebrews built those two is a stretch, because apparently we used them to build the pyramids.
But you're talking about the time period. You're saying Hebrews did not exist.
That's my proof. They didn't build the pyramids, therefore they could not exist. Even the time period of the
who existed then? Who existed?
Not the Hebrews. I know we Africans.
I would like to know then, within that chronological order, if there were no Hebrews and there was no separation of culture or anything like that, as far as you're concerned by then, who existed?
Africans. That's it.
Next question. People. We don't know whether they were. See, and that's where that's where my big fucking question. Were they Africans or did people exist?
People with
different lands.
People with melanin.
I think y'all are too arrogant to think that y'all were the only ones that existed on different spaces of the earth. I think that they were land masses that people existed more than just the central part of your arrogance.
Really? Prove that.
That's what I'm trying to do by studying.
I can dig that. So back to my Hebrew thing.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, that's fair.
I was on mute the whole time. All right, we got to get back to the topic because I want to ask y'all. We're gonna say that for another.
So we got off topic. Okay.
But we're gonna give the people
another color.
Corey, stop it.
Yeah, that shit's
just stop it.
With the brown community, what's the message that we can give them? You know, I mean, should we really stay out of this, or should we like really?
I mean,
I
I would
mean,
love
we can't save them. We can't put them in our houses or anything like that.
I'm like
You know,
this. I'd love to save them. I would, but at the same in the current situation right now, if we ain't looking out for us, we already done as it is, and I can't look out for somebody else if I can't help myself. Sorry, I'm looking out for us right now.
right?
I hate to say it, but if we don't start looking out for us now, then who else? I mean, ain't nobody, definitely anybody else is.
Yeah. So, what about the pleasure? If you want to say something, you got to unmute yourself. You have some noise in the background. You know, well, with that being said, what I see is that the Hispanic community is trying to become more white because they carry themselves and, you know, they carry themselves kind of snobbish and distant away from us, especially the elders. Now, as far as the youngest that's being born in the community now, you know, where we're from, they're kind of like interacting with us more on that type of level at that age range, you know, especially Roosevelt. Roosevelt uptown, you know, they got a whole bunch of Spanish, uh, Hispanic community within the school. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean, there's a school like on, I want to say it's like on First, in between First and like New Hampshire Avenue. That's an all African American school. I think it's like an elementary school. It's very small, but I think we function better as a community on our own before we decided to start buying into the whole system. I mean, and I think a lot of us, especially at our age, are definitely pursuing entrepreneurship. One, because we have bright brains and we understand that it's kind of like a lie, and none of us want to continue to perpetuate that idea. Some of us do, especially the Christians, and that's why it's kind of like sad. But that to a certain extent, and I see it. I see the awakening.
It's coming.
Yeah, no doubt. So, any words? Any
And
words
more
to?
and more, even in the younger generation, you think that they're like simple minded as hell, and then like when you actually sit down and talk to them, you like actually realize that they actually get it. Oh, what to do with that information, and then that's our problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are the elders now, so we have to set up those type of um, events and programs for them. We got to start initiating some type of action for the youth.
Right. I mean, what do you do with energy that you're not guiding?
Exactly.
It's our job to guide and direct. I mean, that's what we ask of God. That's what we ask of energy. That's what we ask of the universe is to guide and direct us and for us to be incorporated in that. And it seems like there's a disconnect between a lot of people's children, a household, what a marriage is, and all types of stuff. The connection between love, focus, creating energy within a household, that the community aspect or the communal aspect has just completely been lost. Like you remember when we were kids, like if we ran to the corner, even if your mother was inside cooking dinner, like there was always somebody on the front porch to go, "Hey, don't go to past the corner," like no one does that anymore.
No, I don't see that neither. I don't
Yeah.
see that neither.
Everybody was on the front porch. Like everybody. You gonna get
Hey,
away with shit. Was one of the communal things. And I mean, the funny part is that even when I'm introduced to something that's like black owned, like these days, it's they're they want to be able to jack up their prices and just be able to tell you to buy some shit that's way high price just because they're black and you're supposed to support them. And I have a very big problem with that.
Yeah,
True.
I agree with that.
Me too. Yeah, I know a couple of spots. I'd be like, come on, man.
Right. I felt that way about Soul Vegetarian. Like I would walk out of there with like the wheat pancakes and like the Hebrew fries, and I would have like $17 worth of food, and I'm like, I'm still hungry. Like, what's going on? I mean, but you have, and it's like you have to pay more to support your own community.
Yeah, that's true. That
They
is
don't understand you broke. Like, I mean, even when I go to Horse and Dickies, because that's a little closer to me, the quality of food is so insanely not the same. And
you got one in New York?
you don't talk about Horse and Dickies now. I'm in DC.
Oh,
I just be in New York sometimes. Yeah. But it's crazy. I'm like the quality of the food, so I'm paying more. I
Yeah.
did oohs and ahs. I was like, that didn't doesn't make any sense to
It's,
me.
it's the worst. I mean, not to I'm out there like that.
I did that drink one time when they first opened up. That was a wrap.
Prices? Come on, man. I mean, it makes you don't want to go back anymore. I tell you that much, because it's not affordable.
I
Or
was
something.
once. That was it.
Not
When
affordable.
they first opened up years ago, like it was fast 4 or 5 years ago.
So, I mean, what does that say? You know, why are black people doing that? That own these stores? Is it because they got a higher mortgage to pay or something?
I mean,
Property
to be
whatever.
exact, that's why to me, prophecy is it's becoming. We're seeing it at hand. A lot more of us are deciding that organic. Now we understand organic isn't anything. No one cares about whether you're rubbing the cows. The meat is still bad. The milk is still bad. Who cares whether they're rubbed down and fed beer or whatever the case is? It's just like there's certain things we understand we're not supposed to ingest. So either way, and the white man tried to go ahead and tell themselves what to eat to try to tell us what to eat because so many black people correlate their health and their systems to white people and their nutritional values. I mean, white people could drink milk all day. 95% of the black people I know are lactose intolerant. And I really do believe that one of the reasons I'm not is because my grandmother was white. Irish, by fact, and we know how much Irish love their cream and milk.
my stomach.
So I'm just saying, there's certain things that they really don't want to let us know. They're like, oh, we just discovered cocoa butter. Now we're going to exhaust that. Oh, we discovered avocados. Now we're going to overproduce that, and it's frightening. We have to cultivate. We have to come together and cultivate. And I think that some of us are getting that because these white people will feed us anything, especially with all the hybrid fruits.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, the
Fruits are real fruits aren't even real fruits.
Hispanic community gonna be stepping on our neck too. We don't get up. 'Cause they the next white man.
Yeah.
Oh, they buying into it too. They buying into it too.
I mean,
But I
they
mean,
have
about it, if you think about every immigrant that has come to America, and when I
race.
say immigrant, I mean those that want to take over and decide that they are more important than the people that are where they come to. Every group that does that finds a way where they feel like they adapt to the people.
Who's on top?
I mean,
Right. And then
don't
yeah.
every culture that comes to America comes here for power. They don't come here to adapt. They don't come here to make friends. They just come here to build their wealth and ship it back to
But
wherever.
they adapt. But I'm saying it doesn't matter. It still gets whitewashed, regardless whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Eskimo, whether you're African, anyone that's coming here is eventually whitewashing themselves because they buy the ideals of this country, thinking that it's the greater ideal and it's the worst ideal. They pretend that everything's accepted, but they don't accept. As a culture, we don't accept anything except for what we accept, and the acceptance is only to yourself and be a consumer in this system. And it just died. Fuck me.
Well, I guess that's it for that. So, I guess that's it for that. That was a good dialogue with the homegirl. I guess her phone died.
Hey guys, I'm Carly Kloss.
That was the alarm because we got out of time. We don't want to make this too long for the people. So, any last words for the Hispanic community? I really want, because I look at it like this. If people really want to get over it, it's chestnut checkers. So, I mean, it's a way that, we can come together and really show the unity in numbers with the Black and brown community. But they so whitewashed, I'm telling you, it's terrible, man. You can't even walk in the street. They walk past a Hispanic person without them grabbing a person out. You know what I'm saying? So that makes us not want to be like, okay, I ain't trying to support this Daca thing. I understand that, but we have to understand the programmer of that system. And we all know, because some of us walking around here with the same program that the brown community has. You know what I'm saying? So, like Baba Phil Valentine, me reviewing his work, he always mentioned that the consciousness is in pockets. It never be a together thing. It would be in pockets. It happening, over here with these particular people in these groups. That's what I'm saying right now. So what do you got to say about the community, the Black and brown community, Khufu? I mean, could it really be a difference if they wouldn't be so whitewashed and to come together and to really unify and actually work and actually share trades? They know a lot that we can learn from. They know how to build. They know how to stick together. They know how to manage their money. They know how to suffer and also come together as well. You know what I'm saying? That they know all these tactics that we are lacking in. So could it be a chance? But it goes deeper than that. We would really have to go out. That'll be our next move. Mm-hmm. Okay. With the camera. That'll be our next move. We're gonna go get some footage. And we're going to put it up on the tube and we're going to go into the Hispanic community and ask them how they feel about DACA and ask them how they feel about finally uniting or not uniting with the Black community.
That'd be a good thing. That'd be good.
That'd be good. So any last words, Khufu?
I think you said it all.
All right. Let's go ahead and take it home. Hold on. I gotta hit the phone for y'all. We're gonna take it home. Alright. So next time you'll see us, we'll definitely have some footage of the outside. We don't want to make it too long for the people. I'm glad you came in and checked us out for the viewers that came. And we'll holler at you later.